Hello guys and welcome back to some more World of Tanks. Today I'm bringing you a fair few replays. I thought, you know what, end of the year, let's just start afresh for next year, and we'll get all these replays recorded in one. And first game is in the Dreadnought. It's kind of an indication of what I'm going to talk to you about today. Very briefly, just kind of an overrun of the year. As in, we've seen. I know it's not a new thing. It's been running for quite a few years now, but I think it's more prevalent this year. The release of very OP premium tanks. This being one of them, but in comparison to the ones that have been released this year, not particularly OP compared to those, I don't think, or game breaking. It is an OP tank, like I said, but this year has been pretty terrible. We had the Weasel Toe, we had the Centurion AVR, pretty great game breaking tanks that Wargaming just don't seem to care for balance at all these days. It just seems to be like, we can release this AVR, everyone's going to want it because that's the only chance they're going to have of actually competing for a while, because it's going to be in the meta straight away. Obviously, when it first came out, there was like 4 or 5 on each team, and basically you were like, if you weren't in an AVR, you had no chance. And the problem is, it's like, obviously once it's calmed down, you see like, but the thing is, it's such a good tank that we are seeing, nonetheless, I see one in pretty much every tier 10 game, because it is such a good tank that, that you're going to see him. And that's the thing, it's obviously, usually when there's a new tank out, you see about 4 or 5. Once the game's settled down, if you're playing that particular tier, you'll see them like, once in 3 or 4 games. But with the AVR, you see it pretty much every game. So that's how bad the tank is and how OP it is. And it just adds to the mix, There's if you've got released like 5 broken OP tanks in like just one tier, even when people stop using them so much, you're still going to have like 2 or 3 of these broken tanks in each game anyway, just because the amount of them in the game. It's just not, it just makes the game unbalanced, just makes it unfair. You shouldn't be able to tell what team's going to win by just looking at what tanks are in the game. One of these is the in Cold Wars. It still happens a little bit now, but obviously less so. Is the British Era 2 Heavy, the FV411 or whatever it was. Now the other team is going to have a very good time if there's more of those in the game on their team than there is in yours. There's a very good chance you're going to lose, and that shouldn't be the way the game is. You should be able to go, all right, they've got that many tanks, they've got those certain tanks, and we've got this certain tanks. It all depends on who the better players are, but it's not. It doesn't feel like that at the moment. It really doesn't. It just feels like who's got which tank and how many of them. Because if you got 2 or 3 Weasel Toes on one team, and your team doesn't have any of those, probably that the guys with the Weasel Toe are probably going to win the game. And there's also the AT, whatever it is. I think it's called. I can't remember the name of it, but it is a very broken tank, both in Cold War and in World War II. Just because it's got this incredibly good ammo, armor, and you just know that whichever team has the most of those, they're going to win. And like I said, it really should not be like that at all in this in a competitive online game. Like I said, it should be down to skill or luck. Even well, obviously luck shouldn't be a big factor, but obviously when it comes to RNG, it should be pretty much all down to your skill level. Unfortunately, a big part of it is luck and what tanks you are in and what tanks the enemy are in. And even sometimes spawn points. I mean, there are certain spawns in this game, like on this particular map, if you're in the spawn point of A9 and A0, kind of that spawn, you're more likely to lose because people just camp on that really good ridgeline. That's not always the case, but it just adds to the fact that they shouldn't have this in the game. There's mines. There is a certain, I think it's team deathmatch or encounter or something like that, where one team spawns down on the beach and another spawns behind the middle island. Now, the guys spawning on the beach have a lot harder time to win than the other team, and again, there's the tank right there. That's the tank I was talking about, which is totally OP. It's TD, and it's very difficult to pen. It's got a good gun. It's got two good guns, in fact. And again, shouldn't really be a factor on who wins the game, what tanks you're in. It should be skill. And that seems to go more and more out the window as you every year, which is really unfortunate. And yeah, that's just how I feel about the game this year. Is too many broken premium tanks being released, and yeah, just a bit making the game a bit unbalanced. As you can see, we are in a pretty good tank right now, the MBT 80. It's not the most. I mean, it's a good tank. It's not. I wouldn't say it's broken. Maybe a little bit too good. Only slightly. But obviously there are definitely worse tanks out there for that. And yeah. So like I said, just bringing you all the replays I've got left to record. Normally I'll put this in 2 videos, but why not bring them out in one big end of year video. I don't know why that guy didn't shoot me. Maybe he's just trying to find a shot on me that he knew was going to pen, but he gets taken out there. We've had a pretty good game so far. We've got about 4,000 damage. For some reason, the enemy pushed through and just kind of ignored me. And I am probably risking it here. I'm only risking it here now because I can see a good portion of my team is now coming. And here they are pushing here. A little bit too wildly. We are equal teams now, but we were losing. But we are capping out. I'm not really happy about us capping out. I don't like capping. Unless there is no other chance of us winning. I don't want to win by capping, and I don't want to lose by capping either. I know they put it in there to make it a little bit more dynamic, the game, but it is kind of annoying when that happens. And especially in Cold War, when most tanks are fast enough to get back in time to decap, and your team just ignores them capping, that can be very, very frustrating. And of course, didn't aim that one fully, so we didn't actually get that kill. That would have been really nice. As you can see, the armor on this thing is pretty damn good. It is fast. I've got to have improved horsepower on this tank. or whatever it's called, to make this thing a little bit more speedy, especially on the falling back, because it is a little bit slow getting up to speed, this one. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, unfortunately that guy hit my ammo, and I've just used my repair kit, so, and it's near the end of the game. Unfortunately, we could have put a couple more shots in, but yeah, well, I mean, like we said, we've got about just over 8,000 damage, 2 kills, could have been 3, could have been close to 8,000, but there you go. Very good game. We come first. Yeah, not a mastery though, just a first class. And you know, like a decent game in this tank. It's a bit too good maybe, but not as broken as a lot of other tanks in this game. So, right, we're going to go into the next game and try to end this. End it on a high, right? This is the BMP one. I kind of wanted to get these tanks. I'll probably stick with the BM2 and the BM3, because I recognise the name. They're quite famous vehicle, and I wanted it for my collection. I'm not overly a fan of the BMPs. I just don't think this, to be honest, is a lot better than the previous tank. The previous tank in this line, it was absolute trash. Got a pea shooter gun, and it just didn't really work for me. Now the thing is, it's a light tank, but it's really long. So you can't really nip around enemy tanks all that well, which is kind of what you're normally supposed to do in a light tank, right? Make hit and run things, and I don't think you can really use it for that because it's so long. If you nip behind enemy territory, you're gonna struggle. Because you're going to get hit by quite a few guys when you go side on to people, especially, like I said, when it comes to stock tanks, even partially upgraded tanks. This one sucked, because before you get track up and track upgrades and engine upgrades, this thing really struggles to get up to speed, so you can't even use it really as what it's supposed to be, a light tank. Now this guy comes YOLOing in, takes a lot of my hit points, sure, right, okay, you're thinking not a bad tactic, very bloody annoying, but we're gonna do this, and he's out of the game. So he's kind of ruined my game, but failed at his. So, and that is another problem with these big old missiles in tanks, because they're slow, so it's hard to hit them from long range, right? So, which is good because you don't want to be getting hit by these missiles from miles away. The problem is it encourages YOLOing into enemy tanks because you want to get that hit off. Yeah, just go straight into the enemy, fire a missile off, get over 1,000 damage, get taken out of the game. So you haven't really helped your team, but you, as a new player, think, oh, I've done really well. I've got over 1,000 damage in one old hit. That was fun. Anyway, on to the next game, and you haven't really helped your team. So yeah, missiles, another thing that's unfortunately doesn't really, I don't think, works all that well in the game. I don't mind them. Like, I'm doing this here, and that worked out quite well. But yeah, because they're slow, because they do so much damage, and they have to be kind of slow. They just encourage YOLOing tanks, and I don't know what they can really do about it, but it is kind of annoying. Um, when half your team just YOLOs across across the other side of the map to get a few big old hits in, and then yeah, they're dead. So your team's pretty much dead. Um, as you can see, they can be fun, like flipping between normal rounds and then missiles to really cause some major damage to enemy tanks. But yeah, they just encourage YOLOing when it comes to light tanks, especially. Now, as you can see, we are struggling to pen, even with premium heat rounds, and that's the problem with the BMP1, was you got this main gun that can struggle to pen, but it's also got heat rounds, so you cannot hit anything from far away with your missile or with your main gun. So you're really restricted into just getting close to the enemy and hitting and running. And like I said, it's a long tank, so it struggles to do hit and run. And there we go, another one of those broken tanks. It's the Weasel Toe. And Wargaming have never really addressed the issues with the Weasel Toe. One of the problems is that really it is basically a car. It has no armor. It shouldn't have armor because it's so fast. But the problem is, I fired at that thing a few times and it's bounced. Now, I'm sorry, but nothing that hits that thing should bounce. And also, quite a few times I fired at the thing and it hits their tracks. Occasionally takes it off, but sometimes doesn't even take the track off. Now, I'm sorry, even if it hits the track, it should still do damage. The thing is so small that any shot hitting it should pen and do damage, even if it hits the tracks. I think that's one way they could balance the tank more. And also, it's been talked about a few times before that when you hit this thing, you are obviously a tank, and that thing is a car, basically, or a van. And for some reason, when you hit it, you do not do very much damage. Now, I'm sorry, but if a tank hit that thing, it would basically be dead in one ram, depending on the speed it's going. But I'm sorry, but you should be taking off at least half of its health if you're ramming it at a decent speed. But Wargaming says no, that's not how it works. If you hit a tank hit a car with a tank, it pretty much just bounces off and doesn't really do much damage. Now, that is actually one of their responses to that query, and I'm sorry, but that is not how it works. But I think what they're saying is that we would have to readjust our physics engine and physics on the game to make that happen, and that would actually take a lot of time, and we can't be bothered. We just want to sell it broken because we know that people are going to buy it, because why would you keep going out in tanks which keep getting absolutely owned by this tank when you can go out in it yourself? And that's I think their plan for pretty much all of these broken tanks. It's just like, well, we know people are going to buy them, and the people that don't buy them will buy them eventually because they will be tired of being taken out by these things. So why not just buy one yourself? And I think that is their thinking. So I do hope that I know it's not going to happen, but I do hope that people realise that's kind of their method of how to do things. So if you stick to your guns and don't buy it, the game would be better. But obviously you can't. People aren't going to do that. And why should they, to be honest? Why should they have a disadvantage in the game, and that's, like I said, how Wargaming think about it. Now, in this game, we've not really done much, have we, guys? I can't really decide which part of the map I need to be on. Our team has not really gone up the 9-0 line at all, so we feel like we should be supporting them because that's where our base is. Our other where we did push up the HJ line, up the 1-2 line, hasn't really worked out that well. So we're now deciding, right, we've got to decide here, really. We've got to make a stand on one particular front, else we are going to get absolutely destroyed by crossfire, because they're going to take both ways. And that's how you win games, really, is map control. You really need to have map control, because you need to be able to shoot from different angles into enemy tanks, because that's how you get them down quicker. And there we go, Weasel Toe. Not going to be able to hit that. No. So now our team is not on this flank at all. I'm thinking, right, we do need some guys on this flank. So we push up, if nothing else, to give our rest of our team time to finish off the guys on their flank. And there is the Weasel Toe. Now this guy, luckily this guy doesn't seem to know what he's doing in this thing, because I'm thinking, right, I've lost this game. I'm thinking he's just going to come up behind me and put a nice shot into my ass. But he doesn't. He doesn't help his team. He just kind of sits there waiting for me to come to him, which is not really a good way of using that tank. And put a nice shot into him. He's fired a missile at my front with my best armor. He's popped smoke. He's come out of the smoke. Yeah. Not sure this guy knows how to use this tank. Luckily, we're putting shots into him. I really want to finish him off, but there's guys really coming up at me here. I don't know what I'm doing here. Put a shot into him. Of course, low roll. Now I'm thinking I'm dead. He's coming up to my side, but no, luckily. I should have loaded HE to finish this guy off, but we managed to hit him. And then it's 3-on-3 now. We've really equaled the teams up. Again, this guy's on a lot more health than I am. I'm thinking I'm dead here. Again, this guy doesn't seem to know too much about what he's doing here. He gets behind cover just in time, else we're going to put another shot into him. Rush that shot. He bounces. And one of our friends is actually coming in to help now. Put a shot into his lower plate. And again, he shot me at too much of an angle. We got the premium loaded, guys, simply because, I mean, I probably would have put a premium in anyway, but we ran out of normal rounds, you know, and that can happen in Cold War. I'm putting these shots out super quick, and now we've pulled that back, because we were losing pretty badly at several points in that game. But our team's managed to pull it back. We've got almost 7,500 combined damage there, 3 kills. Now we're gonna. I don't know. I haven't seen this light tank. To be honest, I can't remember where I last saw it. We are going to sit in the cap and draw him out. That was the idea. I was expecting maybe he's sitting on these hills here. And at this point, I'm a little bit silly. I get spotted. I'm like, he must be on these hills then. And then we actually see a shot behind us. I didn't actually see it at the time. He hits us in the side. He's actually right at the back there. Oh, that's trying to ram. Missed him, unfortunately. He's trying to get around me. Good idea, but we are not that slow, so we've got 9,000 combined. That's and 4 kills. I'm pretty happy with that. And we still came second because we had the Weasel Toe with 8,800 damage, of course. And we didn't even get a first class for that game. I mean, that's pretty amazing, right? But there you go. Right, we are in the SMV, sorry. Now, this is the Italian Tank Destroyer line I'm going up. It's been a while since I played it because I was doing a contract. Another thing they still haven't quite figured out how to do properly is contracts. Having to grind out such amount of XP, but being limited to certain tanks is very annoying. That's hence why I don't never really do it. I just happened to be like, oh, actually, I'm near completing this one without noticing, and then so I thought I might as well finish it off. But now, finished it, so we are now going back out in this line that I'm grinding, and this tank is very good. Do I enjoy it? That's another thing, but it is decent. It's got very good armor for a tank destroyer. You can use it. I use it more as a support or even a heavy light tank. Yeah, the interclip reload is really long. As you can see, it takes quite a while. Once you got the top gun on this thing, it is good as well. When you're with the stock gun, yeah, you're not having very much fun. But yeah, once it's fully equipped, like most tanks, it is pretty decent. Now, this is one of these games, unfortunately, guys, it is not a winning game. But you have a quick brave look at the scoreboard at the end, you'll see that I made a fair account of myself. It is a tier 9 game as well. My team absolutely crumble in this game, and it's quite surprising, to be honest, because our team's quite well laid out. We've spread out over the map. We haven't all gone one way. Yes, a majority of the team are on this flank, and there's not many on the other side, but at least there are some people on that flank. As you can see, we've lost 2 tanks, but they have lost our tier 9 tank destroyer, so that is a good start to make the things a bit more equal, right? So we are sitting here trying to support our team who are pushing. Maybe I should have pushed up with them. As you can see, we've lost another tank who's just fallen off the edge. Now, that is kind of understandable, guys, on this map. I have done it a few times myself. It is hard to tell where the rocks stop and you drop off because the rocks look very similar to the ground. It is very difficult, and like I said, I have done it a few times myself, so I don't really blame anybody for falling off the edge on this particular map. I'm not sure how they could solve that issue, but I think they should look into it because it happens pretty much every time I'm playing on this match. Someone on their team or someone on my team falls to their death. Like I said, we are trying to support our team here as they push, but the other team are not pushing either. It's a bit of a stalemate here. Light tanks have infiltrated behind our lines. I don't realise this. And they're taking out our... And as you can see, it's now 19-13. It's not looking good. It's now 8-13. Now, this is very, very annoying. This kind of thing shouldn't... And this is why the interclip was so annoying. I could almost put another shot into that guy if the reload was 1 second quicker. Nice, almost taking that guy out. Lucky I didn't reload because I need this clip now. Put 1 clip into him. I'm thinking if he gets up behind me, I'm dead. But he then turns to face someone else, and I finish him off. So we're now reloading. A nice clip. Pretty much pointless. Well, I mean, not pointless, but we're not going to win this game at all. And that's the problem with a tank like this is like, okay, obviously there's very little chance that we're going to pull this game back, but I definitely can't do it in a TD like this. You need something with good camo and good speed to get out of dodge and relocate. And of course, fluff that shot. Not that we're going to struggle to pen any of these shots here, really, to be honest. Put a shot into him. Put lethal on just 57 hit points. So at this point, we're like facing 2 tier 9 heavies there who are pushing across. So what I'm going to do is load premium just to make sure I pen every shot. And that was down 2 tanks to 11. And we've got 2,300. That's not bad in a tier 9 match, but nothing to write home about. And of course, bounced 2 tier 9s there. Penned our first shot, and this is where it all goes wrong. Of course, the artillery just sitting at the back there destroyed us basically in one hit. Nothing I could do about that. Took out my ammo, my loader, took out my, everything. You know, just right. I hate artillery. I really do. Just imagine that guy's like, ooh, just sitting at the back, clicking away, taking out the majority of my health. And there we go. We did 3,000, and the closest guy on my team did 1,500. So we are now going out in the Grill 15. I do really enjoy this tank. It's so accurate. And it's pretty fast to get out, to get out of danger once you've been spotted. But as I was saying earlier, there are some far more unbalanced tanks in the game, which kind of reduces the playability of this tank. We have on the enemy team, I know there's at least one very good player on the enemy team, and he's platooned up, so I'm not holding my breath for this game either. And one of them is in the Tyran. Now, unfortunately, the Tyran is another one of those tanks. It's just like, that's quite an OP tank, unfortunately. It's, just hits super hard. It's got good stealth, camo factor as well. It's just one of those tanks. Luckily, you hit the side of that and pen. We've got 785. Very nice. And that's another thing, like I said in the last game, I am a TD. Pixel shot, managed to swing that in. With 2 shots, we've got 1,500. And that is what I'm saying about TDs, is you kind of got to let the enemy come to you to actually get the shots off in this type of particular tank. So I'm kind of out of the game more than that I would like. I'm making less of an impact on if we win or lose. Yes, I just took out a light tank, which is very helpful, but I need to be helping. To help win a game, you need to help push certain places. You need to be kind of on the front line, making a bigger impact, and that's unfortunately what TDs don't do like this. They're sat back. Obviously can turn the tides with such a big gun, but it's just harder. That's all I'm saying. It's just a bit harder to help pull your team to a win. As you can see, we're making a big old impact on our team. We have got over 2,300 damage. We've got 2 kills, and 2 of them being light tanks. So we've taken out a big factor in the game is light tanks. So we're going to less likely get spotted up, which is good. But our team is 1 tank behind now. So we could still pull this back, right? There is a chance of that. Unfortunately, like I said, the enemy tank has got a very good player, at least one very good player, and he's platooned up with someone else. So like I said, I'm not holding my breath. I'm thinking this is probably going to be a loss. one of our mediums is pulled back from the ridge line there. So unfortunately, the enemy does have that ridge line pretty much sewn up, which means they can get shots across at our guy heavies in the middle of the map. So, I mean, that is a big factor on whether we're going to lose or not, as they probably got map control sewn up compared to us, and we put another hit into that guy. The reload on this thing isn't bad, but not quite enough to get that killing shot on that guy. Got over 3,000 damage, not bad, but it could go a lot better. At this point, I'm just like, I just want to get as much damage as I can. I don't think we're going to win this game. As you can see, our team is crumbling. We've got 3 less tanks, and we've got a couple of guys on very little health. And we're waiting for that guy there who's sat back there to pop up again. And again, we've hit 2 guys and left them on very low health, but unfortunately they're still alive, which is quite a big factor in the game. Put a nice shot into him. We got spotted, but I'm not... Maybe by that Conqueror, but I'm not sure how. He must have very good vision. Of course, we bounced that shot. Not really sure where we hit to bounce. It looked like we hit the middle of his turret there, which should have been a pretty good chance for us winning. Penning. Managed to get unspotted and pen the guy. 5,000 damage, 3 kills, but unfortunately it's too late for that now. And there we go. That's one of the... I think that is the good player on the enemy team. Put a lovely shot into him, but we've got hit both his teammates there now sitting us. Both missed though. Put a lovely shot into him again, but we're getting hit from the rear now, which is not good. We're getting hit from both angles. Not good. And Noah fluked another shot. And this is what you got to do, guys. If you're spotted, just keep moving. And yeah, dead. There we go, guys. We got over 6,000 damage. But you can't make your team win at the end of the day. If they don't want to win and they want to do everything they can to throw the game, they will. So you've just got to go, right, well, yeah, okay, I've lost. It's not helped my win ratio, but I did what I could. And there you go. Yes, I hope you enjoyed this year's videos. I hope you subscribe and like the video, because next year I'll be bringing you even more videos. Hopefully, not all losing games like these last 2 matches. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.